Hi guys. So you remember the 31 over here that we can see, the 3 and the 1, and how that possibly connected to January the 31st with the blood moon, supermoon, full moon going on. It's possible that this has a double meaning because news reports are coming out now about Iran giving Europe until May the 31st to basically salvage the nuclear deal, come up with a way to stop Iran from being affected by the sanctions that the US is imposing upon Iran. And if the European countries can't find a way to do that, then Iran has said it's going to basically restart its nuclear enrichment program. So if they do that, then Israel and the United States are poised to attack its facilities, particularly with the US F-35 fighter jet, which Israel now has access to. In the iPad Go video again, we can see the scene where it's possible that they're referencing the F-35 fighter jets. If I can find it, I might have gone past it. Yeah, I've gone past it. 1 second. No thumbnails to work with here. So these are a representation of the F-35 fighter jets that Israel are using from the United States. And we know, I've heard like maybe 1 or 2 reports about a possible mosque being used as an Iranian based as an Iranian base of operations. So it's possible that maybe come May 31st or after May 31st sometime, if Iran does restart its nuclear enrichment program, Israel using F-35 fighter jets may launch an attack directly on Iran. That could be on a mosque, which could be used as an undercover base of operations, or the mosque in the iPad Go video could be a representation, as I mentioned, of Islam in general. Kind of hitting Islam there, and that would kind of unite them against Israel. And again, we go back to the Juniper exercise that Israel had with America, which basically where they trained for that kind of thing, getting attacked from all sides. Not going to go through all that again. Don't really like repeating myself too much. So when we're receiving reports of possible second missile attack in Syria, it's still important to watch because we know biblically that Damascus is going to be left a ruin. And obviously we've got so many different factions there. ISIS, the US, Russia, the UK, France, Iran, Iraq, loads of different interests are invested in Syria. So definitely a place to pay attention to, and a place that Israel and the US keep striking in an effort to, I'm not exactly sure, because the last reports that I'm hearing is that the Syrian army had retaken the capital, which they hadn't done in like 7 years. And then you've got a more intense bombing campaign coming from Israel and the US. So to me, it seems clear that they want regime change, which obviously is going to be difficult with Putin backing up Assad and, you know, Ayatollah Ali Al-Khamenei. I think there's somewhere along those lines. The Iranian supreme leader backing up Assad as well, so quite difficult for them to oust him. They've been doing it for a number of years. By now, Saddam Hussein had been out, Muhammad Gaddafi had been killed in the streets, so this is obviously a more difficult dictator to remove. But they'll continue to try, and any reason to do so, they'll take. The other thing that may lead to Israel striking Iran, or Israel backed up by the US striking Iran, is the fact that we're getting reports out that there may be a secret ICBM test site that Iran has been using to develop ICBMs. And obviously, with the reports from Benjamin Netanyahu, with his PowerPoint presentation showing what he says are Iran's lies when they entered into the 2015 nuclear agreement and that they were still pursuing nuclear enrichment, it's possible that it wouldn't take them very long to put the two technologies together, nuclear warhead and an ICBM, and it could be possible that obviously if Israel does attack this test site, there may be missiles operational that could be launched from another part of the country, which again is maybe what we see in the iPad Goat video, that same scene with the possible F-35 fighter jets being used by Israel. Maybe this is a representation of Iran responding to that attack. 5 missiles, maybe less, maybe more. The 5 could just be a representation of something else, or just to show that a salvo of missiles come out of Iran. Not 100% sure, but I don't think it needs to be pinned down to exactly how many missiles come out of there. Just the fact that missiles may come out of Iran after being attacked. Well, will come out of Iran after being attacked. It's just they may be attacked. So we're kind of just waiting to see what happens come May 31st. If Europe can save the deal, then it's possible that things may slow down. But then again, at the same time, obviously, the US is not going to accept a nuclear deal that doesn't include Iran's ballistic missiles. And one of the things that they are saying that they won't accept as part of any conversations, as part of any negotiations around this Iran nuclear deal, is anything relating to their ballistic missiles. They see that as defense. But obviously, it's dual purpose. It can also be used to deliver a nuclear warhead. So they're not going to accept that. And because they won't accept that, that means Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu won't accept any Iran nuclear deal. So even if Europe managed to come up with some way of saving the deal, it's likely that the United States and Israel still won't be happy with it, and will launch a preemptive strike on Iran to prevent them from gaining access to nuclear weapons. And we know that that's the way Donald Trump thinks, because obviously he's had that same kind of rhetoric around North Korea. If the previous administrations had done something, then we wouldn't be in this situation now. So I don't think he's going to allow his presidency to be used as an example like that, where you've got where you've got a possible opportunity to prevent a problem later on by acting now. But the problem is, acting now will cause the problem to escalate much quicker. But it's all part of the show. So on the elite level, it doesn't matter, because it's all just part of the show. This country negotiating with that country, and this person negotiating with that person, it doesn't really mean anything. There's always one end result that's planned from the beginning, and there's many roads to get there, but that's where it's heading. So we can watch all of this and just know that in the end, we're not going to be able to avoid a big war between the nuclear superpowers of this world. So we might as well just make sure that we're prepared for it. As they say with a lot of different scenarios, it's not if, it's when. And in association with if and whens, we've got the possibility of the cancelled North Korean summit going ahead. It's a little bit of a tit for tat here, because North Korea responded unusually to the cancellation of the summit on June 12th by saying that they were still open to negotiate, still open to talks, and that they were willing to sit down with the US at any time and anywhere to resolve the issues, which is not exactly what you'd expect to come out of North Korea after, you know, their leader may have just been embarrassed by Donald Trump after he cancelled this summit. So obviously they're playing the game very well. Internationally, North Korea looks like they're really trying to make an effort here. Sure, they go backwards a little bit in rhetoric, but generally their actions have been moving forward. Winter Olympics, sending Kim Jong-un's sister, having the South Korean talks, Kim Jong-un crossing over into South Korea for the first time. All of that went on this year. So it looked like, you know, they're moving forward. North Korea are making real efforts. While on the other side, you've got Donald Trump talking about fire and fury, and then talking about this possible summit and then cancelling it. It doesn't look good. So the blame is more likely to fall on Donald Trump than Kim Jong-un, if anything devolves into, you know, like missile launch provocations. And in association with that, I've already made my hypothetical scenario where a possible nuclear missile launch from North Korea, as they said they may do, into the Pacific with the H-bomb possibly affecting Kilauea, and that then, you know, erupting spectacularly, tsunamis, earthquakes, all of that gets involved. But Kilauea has been steadily progressing to this massive eruption. 22 fissures are open, lava pouring out of most of them. We've got lava bombs, we've got sulfuric acid, we've got glass in the smoke, it's called laze. Now we've got blue fire because of methane, a byproduct of the lava, although I'm pretty sure I've never heard of any reports of blue flames at a volcano as a byproduct of lava. But maybe this one's unique, I don't know. But a lot going on with Kilauea, and it looks to me like it's definitely on its way to breaking up a little bit, whether that's just a little chunk of land or a bigger chunk of land. It looks like it's on its way. Obviously, the job of the scientists and staff is not only to investigate and experiment, but also to calm the fears of the public. So even if they have thoughts that this volcano could go to the extreme side of things, it's held in reserve. All the information isn't given so as not to incite panic. But we just keep watching, and I really do feel like this is connected to the LC scene in iPad Go, the Apple in particular. And if that is correct, we know that this volcano is due some more activity and could possibly come in the next coming days, next coming weeks. We've seen a steady progression from May 3rd up till now. So we're getting into the times where it may be ready to pop off. And I've already talked about Yellowstone and how there's much more earthquake activity there. There's been reports of a tectonic shift there as well, and also more activity at the largest geyser Steamboat, which has erupted 6 times this year so far, which has broken the record for the number of times in 1 year that that particular geyser has erupted. So a lot of things to watch. My eyes right now, they're on Kilauea and Iran, watching those two like a hawk. I want to know if Europe is going to be able to placate Iran into maybe signing a new Iran nuclear deal, and whether that's going to include their ballistic missile program. But more than likely it's not, which means that they're not going to reach a deal, which means that by May 31st or by June 1st, the day after May 31st, Iran is going to restart its nuclear enrichment program. And not long after that, we're going to see a possible strike from Israel and or the US on Iran directly using F-35 stealth fighter jets, which is going to cause a whole heap of problems. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and God bless.